everyone. We're going to talk about Shades of Grey, the last episode, the season finale of season 2. Tell us how you really feel, Katrina, of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I'm Katrina.
I'm Paula. Hi.
Hi.
Hopefully you know that by now, but
I hope so.
If you're new and you're seeing this, and yeah, that's who we are. Welcome. This is Gallifrey Gallows Get Warped. We, as you know, or are figuring out right now, we did not shoot a reaction to Shades of Grey because it's like half the episode is just old episodes that we've seen.
Yes.
And I'll say it, they add, I think for me, the issue, we're just going to discuss the episode.
Yeah, we're just going to go.
The issue with this episode is that the clips don't add anything. They don't create any new story. It's just watch this again. And I think that there could have been something interesting done with it if the clips were shown to then like be interpreted in a certain way, or to reveal something, or to like be part of the plot, as opposed to just like Riker needs to move, have his brain stimulated, so I guess he's gonna have some memories.
I guess he's just gonna have memories, wonder what's going on in there. And it's like,
I didn't mean to actually go into my thoughts before asking you what your thoughts were. I don't want to taint your thoughts.
No, it's okay.
Please, tell me about this episode.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, go for it. This is good because I feel like I've been pretty honest about my feelings with Rick and Morty, so you can be honest about this.
Yeah. I also feel like I watched some of our recent reactions when I was editing them, and I was like, damn, I was pretty harsh on these couple of episodes, but I was just pissed off, man. I was like, done. I think it was like 17 and 18. I was just like, fuck this. I watched Shades of Grey, curled up in bed. I was like, let's go, let's do this. I started it and was like, okay. The first, it's like the first 10 minutes of it, there's no, I was like setting it up.
Yeah, the setup is like the first 10-15 minutes of the episode is like actual plot setting up.
There was like actual plot happening, and I was like kind of about it. I was like a little into it. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I don't see, this isn't so bad, and then it just happens.
And then you're like,
and then it just happens where it's literally it's everything I've just watched. Like, it's just clips of things I already just seen, or I very much remember from the first season, or like the beginning of the season. And it's like you said, it's not like the flashbacks had any. There was no direction with it. It wasn't like
new.
Yeah, there was no like, oh, look at this thing that you missed in this aspect of it or something. Like, there was no like different perspectives. There wasn't like, it's not like Riker was going through some like deep self-reflection where like something came out of it at the end, like it was just like, he's gonna be having some memories. And
then Troy goes, I sense this emotion.
Yeah.
How did you feel? We're going to jump around a little bit, but
she was like, he feels like this. And I'm like,
all right. Where he's like reliving all his romantic encounters, and it cuts back to Troy, and she's like, he's feeling very passionate.
Something wrong? No, it's just that Commander Riker's emotions are rather passionate.
And I was kind of mad that like the clips of him and her, she's like, he's feeling a deep sense of friendship. And then the clips of him with like all his hookups, she's like, he's feeling very passionate. I'm like, he can feel passionate about Troy. They're supposedly like actually in love with each other.
They're actually in love with each other, but not actually together. Like, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. It feels like that typical trope that they like dangle in front of you, where they're like, oh, you want this? You want this? You like it? No. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever.
I also think the almost all of the dialogue in this episode is exposition.
Yes.
It's just like explaining why they need to show these clips.
Yes.
Or why it's not working, or
it's just like the whole thing is Dr. Pulaski being like, this is what I'm doing now to hope that this happens, and it's like, okay.
and then Troy being so melodramatic. It is not her best episode.
Extremely melodramatic. The whole time she was just like very like,
all right, you're a better actor than that.
And like, you know, a bunch of, like we already discussed, a bunch of money went into like the last episodes, especially Q, who, which totally makes sense. The Borg alone.
I mean, yeah, so just
I cannot imagine the money that went into those costumes, set design, the VFX, all of it. Like, that had to have been a very expensive episode. And I just feel like they got a little in over their heads with it, and they were like, oh shit,
like, we have to do one more.
Wait, no one looked at the budget before we were done with the Bro, we got like $2,000 left. What are we supposed to do with that?
Okay, 2 actors in a room. Show a bunch of old footage.
Couple non-union. Make sure there's at least 3 union background, and cheap crafty for the day. Just one set. We're just gonna have them here. You know, like it just it was definitely a very. You could just see it was very like, oh shit, we didn't fully plan for this, so we're just gonna kind of whip this one up, and it, you know, it puts Pulaski in a good light.
Perhaps the organisms are sensitive to brain endorphins.
Yeah,
you know, like I've gotta respect her for wanting to do her job and save Riker. Of course, it's Riker.
Do you think that makes it sound like you think there's someone she would choose to not save? I mean, of course she has to save Riker.
Well, she would save, I mean, yeah.
You said it like, I mean, she wouldn't just save anyone, but she has to save Riker.
She has to save Riker.
Sick bay to bridge.
Yes, Doctor.
We've eradicated the infection.
I'm on my way.
I'm just thinking of like, there's no way he's not in season 3, so like, of course she has to save him. Like, there's no other option. She must accomplish this goal.
You don't know, he could die. What if this was Riker's last episode? This is how he went out.
I'd tell you I'd be done. I'd be like, I'm done. I'd be done. I'd be like, Tasha had a better death than him with a fucking ink blob on her face. Are you kidding me?
Speaking of, how did you feel when you saw her again in some of the clips?
I cry every time.
We are not going without our shuttle crew.
I warn you.
Enough. We have people who need attention. We won't hurt you, but we must help them.
Every time I see her, I cry. Like, it's crazy to me that from the beginning we have had, you know, the very small but loud chunk of people who have been like, skip the first 2 seasons. And I'm just like, shut up. No. Because no. And I just can't ever imagine having skipped the first season and not having known Tasha.
Yeah.
I loved her. And I guess she's not that popular of a character, because when I've brought it up with some people, like when that happened, like when losing her happened, like I had friends who were like, oh, the OG, like, chief
It's because, like, it was so long. I mean, she's only in the first season.
I know.
You know, and there's 7 seasons, and so people, I think, kind of forget about her a little bit, yeah.
Which makes me sad, because I loved her. I loved her story that they were, like, kind of building and giving us and all of that. I just really respected her character. I respected her relationship with Wesley. I feel like she was one of the people who, like, really, like, looked to him and was like, we can, like, teach this boy. Like, he is smart. Like, we can help him, you know? So I've just always loved her, and I took that death super hard.
You did. That was rough. That hurt my heart so much.
Yeah, I just saw someone comment recently, I think maybe on Patreon, where they were like catching up on her stuff, and they were like, I just watched some of your old reactions, and they were like, when KATRINA just like literally was in denial about Tasha.
So I wasn't prepared with tissues. I didn't want to give away what was going to happen. And so far in the show, we haven't had to deal with me as the fan sitting through an episode that I knew was going to upset you. I don't know how you do it. It was so stressful.
I hate that!
Yeah.
I'm so sad right now! I wanted it to be like Doctor Who, where in the last moment he was like, I I've got this idea and I'm gonna rush and bring her back to life and save her.
And even Doctor Who, a lot of times it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I
It
saw
was
that comment. I know
very
what you're talking about.
heartbreaking. And I was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was straight denial. I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's fine. For like 20 minutes, I was like, no. So yeah, anytime I see flashbacks of her come up, I'm always emotional. I always get like, you know, and her, cause just like her final scene, like her final goodbye with her little, you know, recording she did if she ever died type thing.
Death is that state in which one exists only in the memory of others, which is why it is not an end. No goodbyes, just good memories. Hailing frequencies closed, sir.
Like that whole thing was just so beautiful. And I love her. So yeah, that's always emotional. Anytime I see her come up, I was just like, no.
Somewhere roughly around 50 seconds into the episode, they start talking about the biofilter with the transporter.
Brian, what's the holdup?
The transporter has detected unidentified microbes in Commander Riker's body.
Well, can't the biofilter screen them out?
Apparently not. But Dr. Pulaski has been notified.
Acknowledged.
And I just wanted to, I think this is kind of an important thing to understand. So I just wanted to see if you kind of caught like all of this stuff about like why at first they couldn't just beam Riker immediately on back to the ship. Pulaski had to go down because the transporter has a filter. Basically, the way the transporter works is it kind of like saves a backup of your molecules. I don't know that I'm really explaining that right, but it's essentially like that. And
because basically it pulls you apart and like makes a copy of you, right?
Yeah. When it brings you back, it kind of compares you to, again, I might be, y'all don't at me if I get some of these details kind of wrong. It's don't at me. But like kind of compares you to its save of you. It's like your auto save.
Yeah.
And it'll like strip out anything that doesn't match. That's like a disease or something like that. So normally he would come back and whatever had gotten into him
would be fine.
Would be like filtered out.
Yeah.
But it couldn't filter this one out, and we find out it's because it was like attached to his nerves. But the biofilter thing and the way the transporter works is stuff that's gonna like kind of keep coming up.
Because it also came up with Pulaski in that episode where she was old.
Yes.
Right? She got that disease, and they were like, this one's kind of tricky.
Yep.
But we're gonna give it a shot anyways. I do remember that, and it was basically like separating her from that. So yeah, that is interesting. I'm curious to see how they'll play with that more going forward, because I feel like they will. If they've brought it up this many times, like that makes sense that they would bring it back again.
Yeah.
It's also fun. I mean, you can write some fun stories with that. It's the same thing with like a holodeck, you know? Like you can have some looser, more fun stories with a holodeck. I feel like you can kind of do that with the transporter thing too. Yeah.
So when Data and Geordi go back down to the planet, I feel like Data is speaking like all of the questions the audience, like his dialogue there's just to answer. Like the audience is like, why aren't you just going down by yourself? Why are you putting them both at risk? Why does this need to happen?
I must reiterate, it would be better if I went alone.
Don't like my company?
Your company is not at issue. Your vulnerability to the microorganism is.
I'll watch where I step. Besides, how do we know this bug doesn't like androids more than it likes humans?
Possible, but highly unlikely. In any event, why risk both of us?
So he's like asking all those questions so that Geordi can be like, I know where the location is. And we don't know. Maybe it affects androids. And
exposition.
Oh, that was funny.
I definitely sometimes feel like Data is us. Like the audience. Sometimes he just like says things or asks things that's like, yeah.
Running frequency search. Negative response.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you're speaking for us so that our questions will be answered. And like So they're on the planet, Geordi and Data, trying to get the like sample so that
The sample.
Pulaski can like study it and figure out what she needs to do.
Mhm.
And they're looking at that like tree branch root thing.
Yeah.
And I just love when Geordi goes, "Be careful," and Data goes,
Careful.
"I'm always careful."
I'm always careful.
It's like,
Just like,
He appears to be dead.
I'm always careful.
he was like slightly
So almost like
offended.
if we could map a human emotion onto him, yes, I think offended
Yeah.
is the right one.
Yeah. It's just like almost like he just like took that step back of like,
Like,
who do you think I am?
what?
Like, I'm constantly calculating every movement I make. Like, it's just so funny. Cause you know, for Geordi, it's an innocent, it's not like a diss of like, you don't pay attention. It's just Geordi because he cares. And he's like, be careful.
Right.
Excuse me? But I love Data and Geordi's whole relationship, and I'm very excited. Oh my goodness. Kitty dreams. He was chasing someone in his sleep. I'm very excited to see Geordi and Data's relationship form more, and I'm very excited to see that because they make the best friends.
Yeah, I like them together a lot.
They're so fucking cute. Like, I just adore their whole thing. I'm like, yeah, what else is there to talk about this episode?
I have two other things that I wanted to bring up, but say whatever you were thinking. Yeah.
No, just that it is just a very disappointing season finale.
It's bad. It's just bad.
In comparison
it's a bad episode.
to, I just don't.
The beginning's not so bad, but really once Riker gets into that coma,
it's done for.
Bad.
It's just bad. Like, it's just bad script writing. It's just bad, like,
bad
story writing.
Pulaski does a good job. I think
Pulaski did well.
She
believed it. She believed herself. Troy was just like that. That's the most. That was like
bullshit.
Season 1 melodramatic. Like the first few episodes we saw Troy. It was like very, very like, okay, we get it.
It's like, all right.
You know?
Yeah. So there is a scene where I believe Riker and Picard are talking to each other. And Riker is like, I think it's Riker who's like, you know, it's kind of surprising this kind of thing doesn't happen more often. You know, like, we're searching unknown worlds, we're going out, we're exploring.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that we don't get in this situation more. And I just thought that was, because that's the thing as an audience member I think about all the time when I'm watching the show. So I thought it was interesting that they kind of acknowledged that a little bit.
I'm sorry. Well, these things happen. At least expected. I'm surprised they don't happen more often. After all, we are exploring the unknown. And the unknown can be benign or malevolent.
Yeah. I enjoy I enjoy when they do stuff like that. When they reflect on those things. Because seriously, you're exploring like the deep, like you're exploring deep space, and just like, how do you not come across these situations more often? You know? So it's very interesting.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask you about, I keep looking down at my notes, everyone, because I took notes while I was watching this. Troy talks to Riker about, like, well, you seem very, like, cheerful, like, you're cracking jokes and, like, talking to people as they come by, like, it's okay for you to feel whatever you feel. And he's like, well, it's my responsibility as first officer to set a good example, even in the face of death. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
This bug is persistent, I'll admit that. But I'm not worried. We Rikers are ornery, too. As a matter of fact, my great-grandfather once got bit by a rattlesnake. After 3 days of intense pain, snake died.
You're a very entertaining patient.
I try.
Yes, you're making quite an effort to be cheerful.
You, of all people, should know.
You feel what anyone in your position would feel.
As the first officer on this ship, I have to set an example.
Even now?
Now more than ever. Deanna, facing death is the ultimate test of character. I don't want to die, but if I have to, I'd like to do it with a little pride.
And a lot of impudence.
You bet.
It's one of those things where I don't feel like it's a one or the other like answer, because it's like, yes, I respect him for that. I very hugely respect him for that, because I understand where he would be coming from with that. You know, like, he's someone that they've got civilians on this ship, kids, all sorts of people who literally do look up to the captain and the first officer for, you know, hope, courage, you know, all of those things. And when you see the person in power, or like a person, you know, in those ranks, when they crumble or wither or start panicking, they're like, oh shit, if they're panicking, then I need to panic. And that can cause mayhem. That can be, you know, that can be an issue. So I do get it to a point, but I feel like there is a certain, I feel like there is a certain point that you reach, though, where you have to be honest. And you can't just totally hide it, because then if something were to happen to him, that's going to hit everyone that much harder. And I feel like it would be just as much mayhem. So I don't know. That's a hard one.
It is hard. I mean, it's really complicated. I feel like, I guess what he's thinking is like, well, if I show cheerfulness and bravery in the face of death, and if I do die, maybe that will inspire other people who might find themselves in the same position to also feel more brave about it.
But that's just like,
I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting that even in that moment, he was like, well, my first duty is to the crew of my ship.
Still take care of the crew.
Yeah.
Which is very Riker. It's very Riker.
So
yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I am glad, because again, like, so much of this episode is just, I mean, just reruns basically.
It's just
I'm glad we
half
didn't
of it is a rerun. Half of it
react
is a
to
rerun.
it. But this might be a thing we start doing more with this series, is kind of having a discussion like this where we reference certain things and kind of discuss them. So that might be a thing we start doing more of, y'all. So I guess let us know like how you felt about this, because this is a little bit of an experiment.
I don't know how long the break is going to be before season 3 starts. Not too crazy long.
Don't worry, we aren't forgetting about y'all.
Everyone, just take a deep breath.
Calm down. We're doing our best.
We're not going anywhere. We're just
gonna keep watching.
Also going through a lot of crazy shit right now too. So yeah, and the longer shows are harder to do.
They are harder to do, because they take longer to do. It's a lot more work. Yeah.
The truth. They are longer, obviously, to watch. Our discussions are longer for before and after. The editing process for them is longer. All of these things. So yeah, patience is greatly appreciated, and we love y'all. And I love Star Trek, so we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, we're gonna keep watching.
I want to see season 3. This is the season that no one has shut the fuck up about. This is it. This is the season that not a single person has shut the fuck up about. So I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And on that note, I guess catch your Gallifrey gals.
Go bloopers.
Yeah, our own bloopers. Catch your Gallifrey gals next time as we boldly watch what no noob has ever watched before. Engage. Energize. That's what we say.
Is that what we say in this room?
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a little thumbs up, and if you want to be notified when we post new content, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell in the corner.